dear colleagues. It's very pleasant. It's a pleasure to deliver a speech at such an August conference dedicated to game dev and gaming in general. This event is relevant for technologies, for advertising and for other areas, and I would like to tell you today about viral mechanics that we have been using to promote many products that are related to game development. We don't have that much experience in this because historically in our country this area is not really well developed. The viral marketing of games is not well developed in Russia, is not as developed as in the West. And I will be telling you about viral marketing in my lecture, in my presentation. First and foremost, viral funnels focus on just one person, on the ambition to ensure massive effect. I will drive and will draw many examples, and if you have questions you can ask them right away. The first virus was developed by Timur Bekmambetov, which was a promo clip for the movie. It was available in the newsfeed, not just on the web. And it was broadcast by NTV channel. And the newsfeed was telling the audience that an office worker just gone mad and showing that he was just beating up his colleagues. So this film, Wanted, it's called Wanted, was promoted on TV, and it became known and became understood that the effect of this viral clip was somehow related to the response of the audience. Many agencies are currently not focusing on this approach yet. We are trying to stick to this viral lifestyle in marketing. Traditional marketing is quite easy to understand. We choose the target and we try to find a person that will need our product. Viral marketing in social networks is where we work. This is mostly related to shares and likes, as well as reposts, comments. All this is about the initial time when Facebook and MySpace emerged. It all dates back to that time. Marketologists understood the relationship between the content and the likes. But as social networks grew and more platforms appeared, it is being debated. There is a trend on viewings. If you use VK or Telegram, we can estimate each post and understand the number of people that are watching this post. So we are coming back to TNS concept of marketing. In 2017, we have many platforms where we can promote our product, ranging from classical Google searches, ranging to Telegram, Netflix and Spotify. And we will tell you more about music promotion, because I think gamer industry is also interested in such a way, in such development. Creative approach is what we are talking about. First of all, creativity. Viral projects are done by creativity agencies. They develop a concept that will be tailored to the customer and satisfy their demands. We don't do production usually, but many creativity agencies do that. They provide QA in terms of production. But I think production in Russia is generally high quality, so you don't need a QA for that. Viral creativity is about the following functions. It's a very beneficial feature, beneficial and important way to start up your project and product. If there is nothing known about your product, you want to announce it on the web, you can use these tools. There is a case by Capcom, an unsuccessful one, when they promoted Resident Evil 6 using one store that they took a store and put pieces of human bodies into it. And they even had to close down this shop because people were afraid that there were real cadavers there. Speaking about viral effect, very often ideas are not that pleasant, and I can draw more unpleasant cases with PlayStation, for example, when in Russia there was a white PSP suffocating the black PSP, and that was a viral project that they made. The originators of the organizers of this conference also have bad cases on child violence, for example, and they all remember about it. As for our own cases, this is the MDK, our customers. We actually have more customers, but these are the references that are served by our agency. We have different platforms in over 50 million users of coverage, but we position ourselves as a creativity agency at the moment. We cannot disclose information of many clients because if we develop a meme about a film or a game, we do not have a right to disclose information about those customers. I don't think that you will tell other people about it. It's not because of that. Rather, it is because of bureaucratic barriers that we need to follow. We sign DNAs with them, we sign NDAs with them, which we cannot breach. We cannot breach and disclose information about them. This is the most recent case. The recent case about fake news, remembering a company, the campaign of Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump. Our case is not political. Sometimes we do things like that to ensure self-development. So there is a fake information, a piece of information, a video on a drunk person who is thinking that his shoes is a bomb, is a bomb actually. He is drunk and he feels that he's being bombed. And then there's a young person coming up to him. He's telling that he is an experienced burglar, and he tells him that KGB ordered to kill him, and he tells a story about why they want to bomb him, to explode him. I won't show you the video because it will take a lot of time, so I just render the story to you. After it was posted on Peekaboo and on our public website, there was not much feedback, not much response. Of course, you may think that I'm telling lies or incorrect information, yet and we can see a lot of people like that, drunk people roaming Russian streets. But when we posted the clip and added some memes to it, we added Vietnamese flashbacks with a person who is thinking and there are flashbacks that show his track record in Vietnam, and military persons sitting on trees, a lot of memes like that. So we added these memes to the clip, and actually one of our most popular cases on KFC is based on this very method, on this very methodology. Now this case is about adding memes to your viral video, and adding some memes to it can be very efficient and can actually reach the customer, reach the user. There is a meme, for example, 9gag. We take 9gag meme and add it to Reddit. Sometimes you don't understand the story, then we add more memes to the video, and you start asking what is actually meant by the video. There is no reply. Then there is one more post added, and there is the mass of people that start asking questions. And there are smarter guys who also know the concept of the viral video, and they start telling you about the concept of the video. You start sharing, and the story goes on and on. After that, traditional media connect to the process, and there was a big surprise to all of us when there was a first live connected to this clip, because for us live was one of the sources of fake news. They picked up our fake news item, and that was unexpected for all of us. And the story went further, and this person was actually interviewed on the first Russian channel, on the biggest Russian channel. One of the first cases we had is the case of Game Insight. In 2012, back in 2012, we had a customer who wanted to have more installs of his, more installations of his solution, of his product. VK was a wild market back then, and users there did not know much about the links, about the mechanics. So we shaped a concept about the product. We thought that any product, a film or a game, can be based on viral mechanics. We told people about a game which had a Russian logo written in Cyrillic letters, and our customers liked that because they were one of the first Russian game designers. There was more content added to the case, addressed to school students. In 2011, there were many school students playing games aged 14 to 18. They were always looking what to do during lessons. He has a phone and he has a gadget and he wants to play a game at a lesson. And they were tired of this content. They received it massively, and they started downloading the content. So this was the overall coverage of 4 million people that we reached. Together with our manager, we were focused on these perceptions. We assessed and evaluated the response to this content. So after we performed this viral campaign, we saw the rapid growth of installations. One of the first fake news that we promoted is the killing of Jim Carrey. In the West, such fake news are very frequent. For example, Jackie Chan was allegedly killed about 10 or 12 times. There was no such trend in Russia. If a celebrity dies in Russia, it dies once and for all. Because with fake news like this in Russia, there was no such tradition. There was no channels like Life or some other fake news sources, so we were the first to launch this flash mob. It was a random flash mob. that we launched. There was a news item with the fake memo. People believed that Jim Carrey died, and it was viral with the VK. It generated several thousands of reposts, and it was a viral effect for the time. It reached Facebook in one day, and it was unheard of at the time. It then moved to Twitter and reached my press secretary, reached his press secretary, who denied killing Jim Carrey. In the West, they didn't have such news item. Only we in Russia used it to influence our audience. One of the first customers we had in cinema industry So we were engaged in developing memes, in developing a character on the film Machete is Killing. So we tried to create a meme on the basis of this film about Machete. We used various concepts. Instead of killings, we were Machete running, Machete. We also used the combinations of this Machete image with Russian historic figures like Ivan the Terrible and others. So we tried to generate this content and create numerous variations of this content, of this meme. We distributed this content at different image boards and networks. Sometimes you may think that it's spam, but it's completely different, because spam means spamming messages of the same content. But forcing means a different thing, is to support the key idea of memes. So the last bit of the cherry was that we asked Danny Trejo to make a photo for our T-shirt.
So we believe that the gamers have a great potential to use the same team cybersport that can be used to promote your own events, other products. And here we're looking at the contemporary trend to use teams to promote banking products that aims towards young and male audiences, because a lot of banks they got this direction. So standard branding don't lead to the numbers that a lot of banks expect when you can do lots of cases with interesting cases with athletes, like with Cristiano Ronaldo, for instance. If you're at Creative, a bank that unfortunately recently ceased operations, but not because of using Cristiano Ronaldo. Another dead project. I mean, the project's alive, but the big Russian boss. And this is a famous rapper that is known. He's a comedian, and he's making fun of various trends in rap music. We're about the first ones to use him to promote projects. It's our public, and our client is Burger King. If you ever saw the viral video of this character driving through Burger King and kicking and hitting people that get in his way, saying, no one's going to believe you anyway. He's been used by others afterwards, like Mail.ru, Rocket Bank, and they used him as a viral character because there's a certain opinion that if you use a viral celebrity, any project with that person is going to go viral. The upsides. It was, it's a popular blogger, was promo of this bonus program. If, somebody saw a lecture on the YouTube celebrities, 2 to 3 million views with the character from the blogosphere is, just easy as 1, 2, 3. But getting large numbers, nobody really is aiming for that. So the problem of many advertisement agencies is that they don't, let's install typical product placement and that's really fun to share. Like nobody really cares about that. We have worse examples when they take a popular comedian from TV and try to put them online. They used a TV host, a character from Ivan Urgant, and made a web show. But they're popular with the YouTube celebrities. But when they put in characters that are popular from TV, it's, I don't have them over here, but there's like 10,000 views tops, and all of them are like dislikes, So typical mistakes. Don't take dated trends. A dated trend works only if you're Ivan Urgant. Just recently, if anybody saw it, he made a parody on Pharaoh's video. It has the 2 to 5 million views. But if you're a brand representatives and if you want to try to hype on some dated subject, it's not going to work. First of all, there's school kids on YouTube, and they are the ones who are gonna spoil your content with dislikes. And when they see something rotten, that's the marker that ooh, this is gotta leave your opinion as negative. Don't judge by yourself and your kids. It's one of the sins, Apart from some classic brands, we have startups coming to us that try to target the school audience. And there's a boom right now. There's the people that want to profit on school kids, and they say, well, hey, I have a son, I have a daughter, a neighbor who saw this app, play this game, and they liked it. And from the social metrics, this is real bad. Don't, my son liked it, so other sons would definitely like that. Don't think that the channel is the main part. That people come to us and say, well, you're gonna make some crap for us and place it on your channel and it's gonna work. If the content is bad, no channel is gonna help you. You can place it on the main page of 9gag and keep publishing memes, and it's just not gonna work. Because if the user rejects it from the start, which you can see from a few posts at first, you got to do something. But it also don't work all the time. Many brands, they try to tell you one thing but rendered something completely different. And the press takes that and starts blowing it out of proportion to racism or something like this. You can always turn it to a joke. There's crisis PR, anti-crisis PR, but oftentimes some brands just delete it and then apologize. And you can also, doing it by brand buckets. Because the clients bring a book this big and say, these values have to be communicated. And as the audience is like their audience, and just by the book. Don't hide your values, don't hide your true values. Many customers are trying to tell about their product, like they're trying to make it better than it actually is. And they're trying to, spend some time and to understand the needs, the audiences that grew up with you or grew up around you. And don't wait for a miracle. If you are on the slippery slope of viral marketing, and there's a chance even with like great creative agencies, that something just not gonna happen. Have to be ready for it. So we're warning our customers, we can, put something in which is not gonna work. It's important things. Make it funny, don't be afraid of experiments. Work with the young audience, make new. But like new trends. Just recently, for the rap lovers, there's a performer of anti-hype that's known for. They're known for that whole famous Russian verses, and there's a whole song dedicated to a Warcraft add-on. No one noticed that really, but the album itself is pretty popular. So there's 300,000 full listens to it, and none of the Western rappers don't have a song dedicated to Destiny, or to Resident Evil, or to Taken. I stand corrected. But I heard this, and as a person who haven't played anything for a while, I grew up on Warcraft. I heard this and I just wanted to play, and a lot of my friends, the typical thing, measuring by your friends, but a lot of my friends felt the same thing because, all this lingo from Warcraft, it just catches you from the first side. Thank you. That's it. If you get any questions. So basically the main message of your report is that like the viral ad is based on creative, but some of the top bloggers now notice that on YouTube the value of creative effort goes down because of the just sheer number of things. So what's your take on that? If we talk about the YouTube market, let's remember this whole story about Nimage and Tinkoff. There is viral themes there that they use a role model. So if you notice, they are inside their video, they break it into parts. There's a thought and then they play it, and the thought and then they play it. So their videos are a lot more viral than, let's say, those of their younger colleagues that are trying to do challenges. that they multiply and pass on to each other because they demonstrate this lack of creative mentality. And again, I follow the YouTube market from Millia Medicine to the current Ivan Guy. We can see, like, how when they come, the moment they the creative energy stops, they're done, and they promote themselves first of all, so they are their own good. Whereas we play for a client. It's easier for us on one hand because we have the expertise, we can look at it from the side, and not being the customer itself. But it's hard for us to promote somebody else's stuff because had I been a blogger, MDK, it's always easier for us to promote MDK because we can do a lot. But when we talk about the viral topic for the client, to go into challenges, it doesn't always work. Like we see with the Rocket that tried to put himself in all the shows. It doesn't reflect the viral idea that was announced at first. Do you have any interesting examples how when you use the viral ad for the kids, promoted things for their parents? Can we use condoms maybe? To be honest with you, I can't think of anything. Because when we appeared in 2013 as an agency, we always positioned ourselves as an agency to 1824, and very little change. Yeah, now they grew up a little bit. Maybe one of them became a parent, but we just now started to get customers who are targeting mothers and daddies. Our audience just became that, thanks to the demographic politics. So I don't think we can have any examples, or at least I can't think of any. How justified is playing on the age when PewDiePie, he made this an anti-Semitic joke and lost a lot of advertisement players like we know a wonderful Russian company, Avia Sales, that just keeps playing on the edge all the time. And it earned a big place in the heart of the users. So SMM is like PR. We feel it, but we can't tell it where it is. If we talk about Avia Sales, like, well, yeah, jokes like this. What about Burger King? We remember their constant desire to hype on something like on Bitcoins. Recently, they just an account in VK just keeps joking about anime. I mean, we are responsible for social media and Burger King, so we'll like jokes about Evangelion, JoJo. And just recently there was a meme respecting women. It was post ironically was talking about the topic with that a woman in modern United States needs constant respect. So through memes, I have some strange memes, we try to talk on this topic. and they dipped it in the sauce and wrote "woman respect," and it didn't cause any sexist response as it could have in the United States.
At Burger King, there is always this contradictory content that we're using, and when we mentioned Egor Letov, a rock star, a former Soviet rock star, that was his birthday, and we used a quotation to congratulate him, a quotation from his songs, and it sparked a very big amount of big number of people against using the image of Yegor Letov for memes and for this message. It's better to. The slogan was, "I better eat a Whopper than do something else," and we decided. The feedback was negative. People refused to visit Burger King stores, restaurants. So it was kind of full-blown aggression on the part of the people, and our moderators have been spending hours to reply to those shitty rockers who wanted to attack us. We didn't tap into politics. They trolled everyone, children, women, but when we tried to troll a rock legend, there was this aggressive shit blowing. One more interesting question. So, I listened to your presentation, but I didn't understand on the way it's related to game development. So, is it really efficient for game development? Is it really efficient to promote oneself through viral mechanics? Are there any practices like that in the West? It's the second question. It can be worth 1.5 stickers. So coming back from coming back to the case of tribals, there are distinct KPIs that we might have. There are different products, game products, League of Legends, for example, Wolves by Blizzard, Overwatch, and other games. All these titles develop and release updates and add-ons, and they want to promote these add-ons. We use the stock exchange, the networking to promote these products. We set up a direct link. We have a lot of requests like that, but we always try to integrate something else into it, to add something personal to such campaigns. And you were rightfully mentioning that there are no adequate metrics to estimate the content effect. The content can spark both positive and negative responses and repercussions. It may drive people to go to a store and buy the product, and the effect on otherwise could be negative. There was a big number of memes on Ubisoft, for example. It was a massive number, and the concept behind those memes was that Ubisoft was overwhelming the network with Assassin's Creed, and we always saw a lot of posts on a lot of arguing on the date of release of Assassin's Creed or another title. So there were many negative responses. It was a black PR that was not well developed. The last bite of the cherry was to thank Ubisoft for Vedьмак. Actually, Vedьмак was developed by a different company. Everyone is willing to do game development in social networks, but it's not always possible I don't think viral mechanics could be efficient like that. In the West, it is extremely popular. They organize streamings, role models dedicated to games, but in our country, it's not yet developed. It's not popular for some reason. The only things that take off, for example, the recent advertising, the recent commercial of Vikings, the commercial ad preceding the YouTube clip is the only option we have currently in the market. One of the tips there was to address younger audiences. Younger audiences are not that permanent. They might change their preferences, switch to another preference. So your customers who come to you, they are looking for more likes, more popularity. Do they understand it's not? There could be not a lasting effect for that. Do they need to shoot in the same point and the same spot all the time? Many gamers, many game developers think that their primary audience is not school students, rather, but actually men aged 25 to 35 years old. So these are adults that can afford to donate. So these are the primary target audience for game developers, and none of game developers are looking into growing markets of school students. For example, such titles like Counter-Strike Global Offensive was, and its popularity was due to that segment, to the segment of school students, and the Battleground or the Playground game, which is popular now, is also addressed to this category, to school students. They were the ones who hyped this game, and only adult men who could afford to donate money on their character joined this group later. So this is this is a category which is not constant, but it may help promote the game and involve more users. One of the most frequent mistake is not to that you spoke about is not try to solve puzzles. Currently, we are facing a trend about memes. School students are required to know much about history, to be able to draft very complex concepts. So the same with the games. When we take a meme and try to integrate it into the Russian audience, initially it just is not working. There is this intellectual layer of memes that can be understood by 2 to 3% of users only. Many of the users can have references from the Western market. On the other hand, some examples are there in the gaming industry. For example, the case of Tom Howard, Ron Howard, a game designer of this Skyrim. You remember this name? Don't believe his lies. Many game developers and publishers are trying to enter the market by providing negative data on his competitor. In the Mempedia, this mem ranks 10th, so this is one of the puzzles that I'm talking about. And there is this saying of one telling that he's going to watch memes, not solve puzzles. So this is the concept behind what I'm talking about. Thank you, Roberto. That was a very interesting contribution, very interesting presentation. Thank you so much.
We're with one of our speakers who just gave his speech here. Please introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Alex Shpilov. I'm head of gaming and esports at Wiki.com. Hi.
Hi, nice to meet you. So tell us, what's your favorite video game?
Well, at this moment, my favorite game is Destiny 2. I have already spent a lot of hours in it, and it's really awesome.
It is, I gotta tell you. But this is a new game. What about the very first video game you've played? Do you remember it?
The first game was the first Quake. I played it with my dad in my childhood.
That's really great childhood memories, I guess. So tell me, how did you get to the gaming industry?
Well, I was user of some fan community about Steam and Valve games, and I began to translate some games from some news articles and so on from English to Russian, and Valve invited me to translate their games as a volunteer, and after this I became such a dedicated employee at Valve, and now I'm here.
And what do you think about 4C?
It's my second 4C. I have already visited 4C in Kiev the last year, and it's really cool. I really love it.
Well, I hope you love this one as well, and I hope you get lots of new knowledge and share the knowledge as well. Did you have any questions from the audience that you really liked?
Yeah, the audience was cool. They asked really cool questions, and I hope my speech was really useful for them.
It definitely was. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you. Hi, we've got one of our speakers again and wanted to ask him some questions. Hi, introduce yourself, please.
Hi, my name is Andrei Sarafanov. I'm a senior 3D artist from Wargaming. I'm working on World of Tanks project and creating 3D models of our tanks.
Fantastic. Andrew, tell me, what's the very first game that you've played? Do you remember it?
Actually, I think it was Tetris. Yes, I was amazed by the quality of the assets. I love to play this game all the time. But later, after I saw what computer games can do, I was I've tried to move to the PC gaming, and now I'm working on huge PC titles, and I love it.
Well, that's easy. Tetris had a fantastic destruction engine for its time. Yeah. But was it your favorite game, or which one is your favorite game of all time today?
Actually, today I like to play in our game Tanks, and Tetris was more like I had nothing to play, only Tetris. And today Tanks pretty much solves all my wishes, and all I want I can find in this game. It's kind of simple, pretty fast, not very long session, and I have a lot of time to work on my own projects. So that's why I like to play the World of Tanks.
Great. What led you to the gaming industry? How did you come to this industry, to this job?
Yeah, actually, I saw interesting CG Artist Challenge in the internet, and I saw cool character art from different artists all over the world, and I was amazed that young guys can create such amazing art. So I decided to try this out, and I found that it's not that hard, and I can learn that stuff. And I did it as in my spare time, just like a side project from my main job. And I was noticed by Wargaming at some point, and they invited me to join their team, and now I'm doing tanks.
That sounds like a great deal. So glad to have you in the industry. What's your favorite thing about it? Just about the game development?
Yeah, I like the diversity of this industry because it changes a lot and it has a lot of different branches all over the world, different people creating very interesting experience, and every year you need to adapt to the changes and learn new things. And it is very fast-moving industry, and I love it because you need to learn every day.
We definitely all love the industry, but there are maybe some frustrations, something that you don't like that makes you sad in the state of the gaming industry today?
Well, maybe some tools are not developed enough to meet our requirements, so we have to do too much technical work as an artist. But with every year, this issue resolves little by little. So I think it's pretty okay to work these days. So it's not a lot of problems, but a lot of fun.
I agree with you there. It definitely changes quickly. Where do you think the industry will be like in 10 years' time? Do you vision any trends?
As far as I can see, VR industry, it didn't have a good start, but it certainly takes space. I saw a lot of good examples for artists, like software to paint in virtual reality. It works really well, and I think through the special software, VR will take its place, and at some point, most of game projects will go to VR in the future.
So you think it's going to be the next big thing for everyone, right?
Yes, of course, because it's really immersive experience, and you don't have any boundaries in VR when you use VR headset, and it slowly but surely takes its place, and I think we will be there.
Yeah, the immersion definitely improves with both VR and just the quality of graphics. But do you think the graphics are more important than the storyline, or the gameplay maybe is in the front, or a mixture of some of these?
You need to balance every aspect of your game. As an artist, I know that a lot of details are not that important. The more important the basic structure you want to show to the viewer, and you need to have like basic shapes which will be easy to read, and a narrative is a good example. If you have a good narrative, it can help you to support your characters and all your gameplay mechanics. So I think you need to balance every aspect of your game, and you will get achieve success.
Do you have any vision of a game that you'd like to create if you weren't restricted anyhow financially or creatively or professionally, just create anything?
Yeah, and I'm not sure about the genre, but in my spare time I want to create some universes. I'm doing it at the time, and maybe at some point I will make some game project from the assets I've created. So I'm working on it, but I'm not sure what will it be.
Well, whatever it may be, I hope it turns out well for you. But right now we're here in St. Pete. What do you think about the city?
It's my second time in the city, and weather this time is much better. And I love it because the architecture is amazing. Never saw anything like this before. And I love to visit museums. There is an artillery museum here, and I'm, as a tank artist, love to visit such exhibitions. I saw a lot of cool stuff, and we'll visit this city again in the future for sure.
It's great that you like it, but as far as I understand, 4C is one of the primary goals of your visit. What do you think about the event?
Yeah, event was. I didn't expect that so much speakers will come in one place, and I'm amazed by the quality of the organization structure so far. So far I love it. It's a very cool conference.
Do you have a favorite question that you were asked before the start of the conference yet?
Favorite question? No, I don't have.
What would you ask yourself then? If you were interviewing yourself, what would you like to open up with? What would you ask yourself?
Well, I don't know. It's kind of hard question for me.
It's fine, but it's kind of a retrospective thing. Any presentation that you're particularly looking forward to? Which one would you like to hear?
I've met a couple interesting people here, and I will attend their presentation for sure. But there are many of them, so I will not pick any one of them.
Well, I hope you get a favorite sometime along the line, and I hope you like the event overall. Thank you very much for your participation.